I was working at a financial firm in New York with a group of very smart people, and I had an amazing boss whom I admired greatly. I went to him and said I was going to start a company that sells books on the internet. He took me for a long walk in Central Park, listened carefully, and said, "It sounds like a good idea, but it might be better for someone who doesn't already have a good job. You might have a job, a career, or a calling. If you can somehow figure out how to have a calling, you've hit the jackpot, because that is a huge gift." I met him 25 years ago, and he said, "I want you to invest in my big company." I asked, "What are you going to do?" He said, "I'm going to open a bookstore in my garage. I'll sell books online. People will shop on the internet, and I'll ship from my garage. But if you invest in my big company, one day I'll be one of the richest people in the world and make more than $100 billion. Back then, $100 billion wasn't even a thing. It didn't exist statistically. Countries didn't have that much. Not even national debt was $100 billion. And this 26-year-old kid told me he'd become the richest man in the world just because he had a garage in the internet. That was his reality. He didn't know, and neither did I. But the difference between him and me was that I laughed and made fun of it, while he clapped for himself for heading in the right direction at the right time. And I just sat there thinking, there's no way this will grow. Do something you're passionate about. Don't chase short-term enthusiasm just to get by. From that angle, it was a really hard choice. But ultimately, I realized I had to take the chance. I wasn't afraid of failing. I was afraid of never having tried. I suspected that decision would haunt me forever. After thinking it over, I chose the less safe path and followed my passion. And I'm proud of that decision. As a little kid, I used to be an inventor in the garage. I made automatic door closers out of cement-filled tires, a solar oven from an umbrella, and aluminum foil that didn't work very well. I even invented alarm traps to catch my siblings. I always wanted to be an inventor, and he wanted me to follow my passion. There's one military analogy I especially like, which goes, "Fast as the wind, heavy as a cloud." In every venture I've been part of, I've seen that this is exactly the kind of mindset that leads to real progress. In life, you'll have some talents, and you'll want to use them. But the advice I can give you on the road to success: don't take pride in your talents, take pride in your hard work and your choices. You may be defined by your talents. You might be great at math. It might come easy to you. That's a talent. But applying that math and taking it to the next level, that's difficult. That's a choice. You can't really be proud of your talents because they were given to you. You can be grateful for them, sure. But if you choose to work hard and do difficult things, those are decisions you can be proud of. We can choose. We can all write our life stories. And what defines us are our choices, not our talents. Everyone in this room has talents. I have lots of talents, but you can't really be proud of them. They're innate. You might be tall, or great at math, or incredibly good looking. Those are just talents. You can only be proud of your choices. Because if you act on them, you can choose a comfortable, easy life, or one of service and adventure. When you're 80 years old, what will you be more proud of? You'll be more proud of choosing a life of service and adventure. There has never been a better time to be alive. The amount of inspiration the world generates for me is unbelievable, and I think it's the same for many people. The amount of change, invention, and opportunity is insane. Your life, the life you create from scratch, begins now. How will you use your talents? What choices will you make? Will inertia guide you, or will you follow your passion? Will you follow dogma, or will you be original? Will you choose a comfortable life, or one of service and adventure? Will you give up when criticized, or follow your convictions? Will you block when you're wrong, or apologize? Will you protect your heart from rejection, or act when you fall in love? Will you avoid risks, or will you be a little bit crazy? Will you quit when it gets hard, or will you persist? Will you be cynical, or will you be a builder? Will you be clever at the expense of others, or will you be kind? Whenever you find a way to provide tools and services that empower others to be creative, then you've truly achieved something. If you have a calling, you're lucky. A lot of people end up with just a job, and if you don't love your job, you'll never be good at it. Jules Verne, Galileo, Newton, all the curious minds of history would have wanted to be alive today. As a civilization, we're going to have so many capabilities, just as you, as individuals, already do. How will you use those capabilities? Will you be proud of your talents or your choices?